What is going on, guys? Joey here, and I tried recording in the garage the other day. Just wasn't happy with it, so I'm gonna do it again on my walk. So we don't have the camera. Hope you guys don't mind. I saw an interesting post. I'm not gonna drop any names just because it's not really that big of a thing, but I do think it's pretty interesting. About a lifter that was kind of shutting it down. They're basically just saying, I've been in the sport a long time. I did what I needed to do, but the sport has gotten to a point where, I can't really, I'm not really, what I took from it is what I'm getting out of the sport doesn't equal to what I've put in, and I could continue, but it's causing a strain, on my life. So I think it's better for me to just focus on other things in life that matter, as opposed to continue spinning my wheels doing this. And I understood that, and there's more details and stuff like that. If you guys happen to come across any posts like that, just everybody should know that everybody has their own reasons for things. And then I saw somebody respond to it. They're responding to me, and they gave a different perspective, and they said that oftentimes people want a result from the sport, and after 6 months to 6 years, 8 years, whatever, you do it long enough, and maybe in the beginning it was working and you were kind of getting what you wanted from the sport, or you enjoyed the sport, and then at some point maybe it just didn't fit your life. And it's super interesting because I've been around a really long time, and I can think back to 6 years ago, a huge group of people that don't even powerlift anymore. Literally one specific picture I'm thinking of, there's 20, 30 people in this picture. 2 of them are still powerlifting, which is very interesting to me. And I've heard the perspective of people that have full-time jobs, they have families, but they're very good in the sport. They have careers, right? And they make it work. They somehow make it work. They literally just train 4 times a week. They, stay on top of their nutrition. They have a job that's not really that physical. So they're able to just kind of control their output. And I think that's really important for people who, I get asked sometimes hey, I work this kind of job. Do you think it's gonna allow me to have a good powerlifting journey or whatever? Now, if you enjoy the sport, yes, anybody could just do it for fun. But if you want to be the best and maintain that top level, I do think you have to be in control of what you're doing activity-wise to a certain extent, or it's going to kind of mess with your ability to produce the results that are going to allow you to be competitive. Some people are freaks, and they are just they're not going to do anything right, and they're going to be at the top. There's one guy like that, 2 guys maybe, that I'm thinking of in bigger weight classes. And they're just going to be good no matter what. It doesn't really, they could do all their variables. Their genetics overwhelm the variables, right? But not everybody's like that. And I think this person that was hanging it up kind of realized maybe their class is very competitive. Maybe their body type allowed them, they were okay, decently made for powerlifting, but they weren't made for powerlifting somebody else who maybe they're younger and they don't really have a lot to stress about right now, and they have the free time to put everything into the sport. So it's very interesting, just because for me, the option of quitting, Like I will never quit training. I don't care if I could only do pec flies and dumbbell curls and lateral raises and then do leg extensions. I will always do something. I will do whatever I can, however I can. That's just me. Obviously that's not competing in powerlifting. I swear to you guys that if the opportunity arises for me to compete, even if I'm not hitting my old numbers, but like just like I did it, I came back and did it, I'm gonna do it. That's just me. And I also have like a lot of things that keep me in the sport. You know, it's not just my lifting. I don't even need to lift, right? For me to get a lot out of the sport. And although the lifting does make it astronomically more enjoyable if I can do it the way that I want, right? But that's just me. I've never really thought about like what the end days might be. But I've never actually considered like, okay, I'm going to do this and then I'm done. But everyone's different and everybody can kind of decide where they want to call it. And I think a lot of the time, this is very, maybe for some of you youngins out there, you might think that it won't fit in your life. You might think there's no way I'm going to handle this next chapter of my life and continue to powerlift at the same time. I'm telling you, some of the best things that have ever happened to me were when I knew that I had to take on a bigger burden. I knew that I had to take on a big burden. And I was either going to level up or I was going to quit something because there's no way I could do both. And for me, like, even just taking it as a challenge, especially if I can make something more like fit into like my bandwidth, I'm going to level up from that. And it's scary at first, right? Because, you know, let's take a situation that comes up quite a lot. You have a kid in high school who's been doing powerlifting. They're going into college. They got to go to a new school. They got to meet all these new people. They have all these responsibilities, and they're like really stressed by it, right? They're also younger and they're going to have emotion tied to that stress. So that lifter, in order to they may need to cut something out in the beginning, like let things settle, and then they can add that back in. Whereas if you fit that into your bandwidth and you find a way to get organized and handle business, I mean, there are so many things that I do now that I don't even know how I would do them before, just because of how much I fit into like my day. So you know, like I said, there's no right or wrong answer. I've made videos in the past talking about this. There's literally no right or wrong answer. But also, like, if you just don't enjoy doing something and maybe you grew up and you were a runner, or you did bodybuilding, or you did some other kind of training that was really, really fun for you, and now, like, you just aren't really enjoying the way that powerlifting is and you want to go back to doing something else and you don't care about competing, then that's totally up to you. I think there are also times when lifters are kind of at that place where they're like kind of fed up with it, but they're so good at it. They're so good at it. Very few that I've had the privilege to work with. They're literally so good at it that they're getting paid by it. They're getting paid to be involved in the sport. And it's almost like I used to train this guy many years ago, like 10 years ago, personal training. And he used to tell me he used to have the golden handcuffs because his corporate job paid him like so much money, but he hated it. And he just couldn't leave because it was like, well, shit, I'm going to retire at this point, at this age. But he was like miserable, like zero happiness. I actually follow this person on Instagram and I think they quit and he went full force into what makes him happy now. And I'm really happy for him because he just stuck it out long enough, you know, stuck it out for like 10 years and was like, okay, I don't need to do this shit anymore. I'm out. And now he's happy. So good for him. Anyway, guys, that being said, I definitely think the sport is growing, but I also think that when you are around for a long time and you give up so much, there's a lifter that I coach now who's probably one of the oldest guys on the roster, has a family, has other things going on. He said to me often, I know that I can't do this forever at this level. I can't. I gotta take it while it's there. And there are times when we're in big meets and I'm like, man, we got to get this done now. We need to win this meet now because we don't know when we're going to get another shot. And I think when the world got shut down, that really emphasized that to me. Like to hear somebody say like, oh, I've hit my last PR, man, that's like a really sad thing. Yeah, I mean, you never know. You just gotta give it everything you got. Don't half-ass it. Build something that you're proud of. So when you look back in 5, 10, 15 years, you could be like at peace, you know, like I gave this thing everything. I'm really proud of myself and I don't have shit else left to prove. I'm good hanging it up here. Just watched UFC last night. There was a guy who, he's like in his 40s, Cub Swanson. He handled business, got the dub, and he's like, I told my wife I'd call it, but maybe I go one more. I don't know. They always say you want to break up the sport before the sport breaks up with you. I kind of see that. You want to walk out on a good note, walk out on a high note. I think there's something powerful about leaving on top. That's like tough, right? Because like, why would you leave when you're on top? But if you time the top perfectly and you call it there, that's the legacy that people, that's like the last thing people are going to remember about you. And that's going to kind of be, you know, what it is. So as opposed to like still competing and then you're going down and down and down, you're still going to get street cred. You're probably going to get some respect. But anyway, if you guys missed the walk videos, let me know. Or if you guys hate them and you want me to stay in the garage and never come out, let me know in the comments down below. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.